you guys have to be very quiet and very attentive. Am I clear? Yes. Mrs. Elmer's got 38 years old. Woo! Being able to throw that voice. Okay? So, round of applause to welcome and we
Well, I'll do my best. I do have a pretty good booming voice. First of all, thank you, Principal Helmer, for inviting me back again.
Sure.
Appreciate it very much, and thanks to all of your teachers for having me back and for having me here before to talk on this subject. In fact, I've been here a few times in the past to talk about different things, different subjects. Some of you may know I live in the area. I have 4 children myself. One of them went to this school just 2 years ago, and one will go next year. So I'm very connected to Chaboya and the Evergreen School District. Another thing I want to tell you about myself is I'm a county supervisor, which means I'm an elected official. I've been a county supervisor since 2 years ago. I was elected at the same time President Obama was elected president. Remember that election? Probably even in your classrooms they had kids voting or something that drew your attention to the fact that we had a presidential election in 2008. Before 2008, I was an elected official also, but not a county supervisor. I was vice mayor of the city of San Jose, and I've been an elected official in the city for 8 years, from counting 2001 through 2008. So what I want to ask all of you about are a few questions about what local government, that's what we call city and county government, what local government does, why we have elected officials and what the responsibilities are. We'll talk about that for a few minutes, 10 minutes maybe, and then spend about 15 minutes talking about climate change, okay? And what we're doing, what we're trying to do about that. So we should be all done about 12:15 or so. Now, who has an idea what city government does? I talked about being in city government for 8 years, being vice mayor. What are some of the things that city government does or might do? By the way, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and don't worry about giving exactly the right answer, okay? Because most people give a good answer, and all answers are pretty good on this, and it's not a test. So guessing is great. Let's just make this fun, okay? But let me give you a little hint as to where to start. If you walk outside your house, wherever your house may be, and you start looking around, first just right in front of you, just beyond the front lawn, you start to see things that don't really exactly belong to you or your parents, but they're right out there, right? And then if you start walking down the street, you start seeing more things that are publicly accessible, right? That you have an opportunity to use, but they don't belong to you exclusively, or your parents exclusively. What are some of those things? Just think of anything. Streetlights. Streetlights, great answer. Where do streetlights come from? Who pays the energy bill, the electric bill for the streetlights to come on? Who has an idea about that? PG&E provides the energy. That's a good answer. But they want someone to pay them for it. They're actually in business. And they send people a bill for that electricity. Who do you think gets the bill for the streetlight electricity?
The mayor.
The mayor is a good answer. The mayor, but in his capacity is representing the whole city, right? So an even better answer might be the city of San Jose. The city of San Jose, unless you're in an area that is just outside the city limits. The city has boundaries. So for example, if you go up Aborn Road, after a certain point, the city doesn't pay for the streetlights, the county pays for the streetlights. Okay? So some areas are county government, Santa Clara County, and some areas are city government. What are some other things that you see out there? Some people were probably thinking of some other examples besides streetlights. Yeah.
Parks.
Parks, excellent answer. Every park that you see is either a city park or a county park. So every little thing about that park, who installed the playgrounds in the first place. When I was on the city council, we built Fowler Creek Park right over here across the street. Okay, all of that money was provided by the city of San Jose. Usually the land has to be purchased by the city. So it's either the city or the county that provides the parks, and then not only do they build them, but they have to come out, mow the lawns, right? Unlock the restrooms, lock up the restrooms, clean everything up. What else? What are some other examples? There's one that's real easy because we are really close to a clue right now with all these books around. What do you think? Libraries. Libraries, right? So city, all the libraries you see around here, when I say around here, I mean from here to Palo Alto, to Gilroy, to Milpitas, all of San Jose. They're either city or they're county, okay? Same idea. The books all got there because the city or the county paid for them. The building got there because the city or county paid for it. So those are some examples. What's even a more basic example? If you walk out in front of your house, how do you get to your neighbor's house? If you want to go next door and see the neighbor, how do you get there? The sidewalk. You ever think about that? Where'd the sidewalk come from? City or the county? Okay? I forgot about you guys over here. I have to pick on you a little bit, all right? No more. We won't forget you anymore. He said we're always forgotten. Okay, so what are some other things just beyond the sidewalk that you might see? The road. Yeah, good example. I mean, it's right there. We kind of take it for granted, right? And there's roads everywhere. There's roads everywhere. They're all city or county roads, except the highways. The highways they belong to the state of California. But it's still a government, right? The state, we have federal government, state government, city government, county government. Okay, one question, this is not a trick question, but what other kind of government do we have that's surrounding us right now? It's not city, it's not county, it's not federal, it's not state. It's surrounding us right now. We're in their territory right now. What do you think? District, school district. When you hear that word, Evergreen School District, the district part, everyone knows what the evergreen part means, right? Everybody knows what the school part means. The district part is the government jurisdiction that runs this school and all the other schools in the Evergreen School District. So all the money for the school comes from that district, from another government body, right? So we're talking about stuff that government provides. So here's the question. Going back to the lights. Who said PG&E earlier? That was a good answer. So we got to pay their bill, right? So the city's doing it or the county's doing it, right? Where's the money come from? Where's the money come from? What do you think? Taxes. Taxes. Good answer. How many were thinking that? Everyone should raise their hand. Might as well take credit for it, right? You were probably thinking about it even if you didn't know you were thinking about it. So it's okay. Taxes. Where do taxes come from?
The government.
Taxes are received by the government. Where do they come from? How does the government get taxes? Who pays the taxes? People. What people? Citizens and non-citizens. Even if you aren't a citizen. If you just got here from India or Mexico or Italy or Ireland or somewhere, you still pay taxes, right? Right? And which people do it? Just adults? Adults only?
Guardians.
Guardians, that's good. So, but is it just people over 18 or? Perfect. He said kids too, because if you go in the store and buy something, I heard someone else say it over here, you pay sales tax, right? And you pay it, and you pay it, and you pay it, right? If you go in and you see something that's marked $1, let's say they have a book on sale in the store and it's $1, you want it, right? Red tag sale, and you got $1 in your pocket, $1, that's all you got. Perfect. I can buy this book, I want it. You walk up to the cash register, what do they say? They say $1? No, they say $1 what? They say $1 something. $1 something. It's just under $1.10. It'll probably be $1.09. Okay? There's over 9% sales tax on every purchase. So over 9 cents every time you spend $1. So that's your $1. If the $1 came from your pocket, then it's your taxes, right? And guess who that goes to? Who said it? It goes to the mayor, the vice mayor, county supervisors. There's 5 of us. For 2 million people, there's 5 of us that decide how to spend all the tax money. Just 5. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine we have a budget of $3 billion? Can you imagine if I told all of you, 5 of you get to decide how to spend $3 billion this year? Okay? But you all have to vote who gets to have that privilege. That would be pretty intense, right? I mean, a lot of people would say, I don't want to do it. Too much responsibility, that's fine. A lot of people though would say, hey, $3 billion, I get to make the decisions, which roads get fixed, which parks get built, what library books get purchased, I want to do that. And that's how people become elected officials, but that's a responsibility they have. But whose money is it that they're investing? Whose is it? Everybody's. Who said that? It's everybody's, right? It's yours too. So that park right over here, when you see somebody out there mowing the lawn in the morning, or whatever they're doing, when you see the sprinklers go on and water it, especially in the summertime, you're paying for it, okay? You're paying for it. And the decisions about how much of that we do, right? How much gasoline we use, how many vehicles we use, how much energy we burn, how many lights we keep on, how many street lights go on and how many don't. All those decisions are made by the County Board of Supervisors or the mayor and the city council. Okay? Lots of decisions, right? So one of the most important decisions that we have is what to do about energy consumption. All right? The last thought I want you to remember about this whole tax and government issue is some of you are going to have that responsibility someday because some of you will be the elected officials. It won't be long, just a few more years before you're eligible. If you're 18 years old and you're a citizen, you have to be a citizen to be elected official. You can put your name on the ballot and people could vote for you to have my job, okay? So please don't run against me, but if you do, that's fine. But you will be eligible to do that when you're 18. But just remember, in the meantime, that if you see somebody going over to the park damaging something, right? Just playing around, but they're damaging something, tagging, you know, messing with one of the benches or something like that, the tables, picnic tables, or breaking something. Whose property is it that they're really breaking when it comes right down to it?
Theirs.
It's their own, and it's yours too. It's yours too. It really is. Well, this is the cities. They'll come back and fix it. Yeah, they're going to take more of your sales tax and come back and fix it. Okay? See how that works? So that's how it works, and it's good to remember that. I don't want any of you to get in fights with anybody and try to stop them if they're doing the wrong thing. You guys would never do that, right?
Yes.
But don't answer that question. But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to mention it sometimes, right? Or ask a question. Why are you doing that? It belongs to all of us. Now, global warming, climate change. Who knows what global warming is? Who can just give me a basic definition of global warming? What does it mean? What's happening? What's happening with global warming? Someone who hasn't answered. You. The atmosphere is heating up. Is that what you said? Good. Because we're using too many gases. More specifically, the gases, the CO2, is going into the air, and it's getting trapped in the atmosphere. And what's it doing? It's trapping heat, sunlight. Okay? But what's that causing right now? What's it causing? Besides just the term global warming, what are some examples of what it's causing? I know at this level, at 7th grade, you guys are pretty familiar with this. What's it causing?
The glaciers are melting.
A little louder.
The glaciers are melting.
Glaciers are melting. Okay. What other kind of ice is melting and where? Who wants to answer that? This year is the warmest year, 2010. We just announced it, the warmest year they've ever recorded in in modern history, okay? So, what else is happening? Snow is melting in general, right? Every continent, every mountaintop. What happens to that snow and those glaciers when it begins to melt because the atmosphere is too warm? It'll cause coastal flooding, right? Because where does it go?
In the ocean.
It goes into the oceans and it goes into the bodies of water, and there's no place for that water to go except up, right? Where's the nearest coast to here? Who wants to answer that? Yeah.
San Francisco?
Close. You're close, but that's not the closest. Even closer. This is a kind of a tough one because you guys don't drive around yet, so you don't know really probably how close it really is. You have an idea? You have an idea? Close. That's one of the closest places. A little closer than San Francisco, right? Pacific Ocean. That's what we're talking about here. How close is the bay to San Jose? Does anybody know? Anybody ever been to the Great Mall? Okay, if you get on top at a high spot on the Great Mall and you look across Highway 880, guess what you see? Water. Water, right? Just on the other side of Milpitas. We have what we call the town of Alviso. That's part of San Jose. That's part of the bay. You can actually go out the bay from there on a boat. If that water goes up, what happens here? Big problems. Okay? You could pick your word. Destruction, flooding, everything else. So what we've done, I'm going to wrap this up now. All of you should have or will receive one of these cards, okay? We in county government have started a kids climate club, okay? Think of it as a youth climate club. Why? Why youth? Because the solution to this problem is going to take a number of years to reverse, and it needs to start now. And it's your generation that needs to do that. It's your generation that needs to. I need to do it too. I'm not off the hook. I've been helping create the problem, right? I understand that. Everyone my age has been creating the problem, but it needs to be reversed by everybody, and especially the younger generation. Do we have a minute left? I want to ask teachers, are we out of time? Do we have a minute left?
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to ask, give me a couple of examples of things that you can do to help reverse global warming. Yes?
Unplug your chargers when you're not using them.
Unplug chargers when you're not using them, because you won't be using electricity if you're not burning electricity. Most electricity is provided by generators, big turbines that burn gas, and they create climate change. Okay, what else? Plant more plants, because plants convert CO2, right? Okay, thank you. Next. Use hybrids. In other words, think about in your families, in your future, you're not that far away from driving. Think about what kind of car you are going to drive at some point. A hybrid instead of one that consumes a lot of gas. Yes? Carpool. You can do that right now. If you need to go somewhere, a game, an extracurricular activity, back and forth to school, try to go with somebody else. Use one car, not two or three. Okay, what else? Reusable water bottles. Excellent, because the plastic that water bottles are made out of, consume energy to make the plastic, and consumes energy to recycle it. So just use recyclable bottles. Okay? Anybody else? How about turning the lights off when you leave a room in your house? Okay? How about keeping the water off when you're brushing your teeth? These are easy things we can do right now. Even if we know you aren't old enough to drive, or you can't force a carpool, but you could probably ride your bike, or some of you can talk your parents into letting you use a bike with a friend to get back and forth short distances to school. Are you willing, all of you, to do some of these things? I'm sorry I didn't call on some of you. Are you willing to do some of these things? How many are willing to do some of these things? Okay? I'm just asking for effort here. How many are willing to try? Okay. If you're willing to try, we would like to have you sign one of these cards. You fill it out. It has examples of these things you can do. And you will be in this kids' climate club. In other words, you open up what we call our Kids Climate Challenge. All right? And there's been thousands of kids, including hundreds here at Chaboya already, going back to last year, who are already involved. Okay? One of the things that I've offered Principal Helmer is that if the entire 7th grade class signs up, all 7th graders, more than just you guys, right? The 8th graders already signed up because they signed up last year. We're going to contact the White House and ask President Obama to recognize Chaboya as the first school that we know of that has 100% committed to turning the tide on climate change, on global warming, okay? So that's why we call it a challenge. Try to get it done, and just all we're asking you is to try to do these things, okay? I'm sorry I went a little bit over time, but thank you all very much. Great answers. I'm sorry if I missed a few people that wanted to be called on. We'll get you next time, okay? Thank you very much.